Bull and Bear Trophy.
Tactical because, especially in the last competition, noi abbiamo già un più che dall'organizzazione.
Hi everybody and welcome back to our appointment with the overview on markets. Let's have a look together at what happened during the week. Well, let's take a look at our market scanner. As you can see, the equity indices show very interesting performances. During last week, last month and also during last 3 months, we have returns ranging from 3.5% of the mini S&P 500 to 4.5% of the mini Nasdaq, which has been able to exceed the highs of the beginning of the year. If we take a look at the mini S&P 500 future, well, we still see a good recovery, even if we have not yet returned to the highs of the year, in spite of all those who excluded a V-shaped recovery. What else is there to consider over the past week? Certainly the energy sector. All futures show very positive returns except natural gas. 10% crude oil, 14% gasoline and 11% for the heating oil. However, we can see that the prices of the energy sector are still far below the highs of the beginning of the year. Let's take a look at crude oil future and we can see how prices are still very far from the highs. As for all other financial instruments, we record flat returns over the last week and also over the last month. This clearly shows us a sign of a slowdown in the trend for all the other instruments. This is gold future, which is moving sideways. More or less the same for silver future, maybe a little better. The same goes for livestock, soft commodities and so on. About Bitcoin future, we also see here a great recovery over a period of 3 months, but during the last week and also the last month, it has moved sideways. Therefore, there is not much more to report beyond the equity indices and the energy sector. As regards volatility, over a long-term horizon, we still find very high values compared to the average values. However, if we focus on the short term, we notice a bearish trend for volatility. We can take a look at the mini S&P 500 future. Its volatility is still very high when compared to long-term values, but we see that it is returning towards average values. As regards instead the implied volatility of the stock indices, here we see its historical trend. Last week, due to the decline in the markets, we had a hint of backwardation, but the term structure is slowly returning to contango. However, we are still in a strange situation regarding volatility, and you understand it well by looking at the VIX Central website. The term structure is very particular. We note a slight backwardation initially for the first expirations. Then we have the October expiration in contango due to the American elections. And finally, we have a strong backwardation for the intermediate expirations. After seeing some key statistics on financial markets and given the fact that automated traders also use this data to build their trading strategies, as usual, we'll now take a look at our portfolio of trading strategies to see how systems have reacted to current market conditions. Let's now see the performance of our overall trading system portfolio. We can see different equity lines. The red one represents the trend of all systems, while the blue one represents only the active systems in our portfolio. This software called Titan is a very useful tool because it allows us to understand which systems to keep active in the portfolio based on their most recent performance. As you know, no system lasts forever, so it is equally important to be timely and objective in the suspension of those systems that deviate too much from past performances. We see that the blue equity line, which only represents active systems, is currently outperforming the equity of the overall portfolio. We had 3 months of very positive performances after a drawdown in February and March during the market crash. If we take a look at the performance of the current year, we note that the filtered portfolio earned approximately $317,000, while the unfiltered portfolio only earned $70,000. Obviously, these results must be related to the size of the portfolio and above all to the number of trading systems we use, which are overall more than 100. Among the systems that have allowed us to achieve these performances, we certainly have the systems on the stock indices, including the DAX future. These are the most recent results of a historical system that works on an intraday time frame. And this one is another historical trading system on the DAX, which has a very smooth equity line. Always talking about stock index systems, I want to show you a more recent system, which is just over 2 years old. It works on the mini S&P 500 future on a daily time frame. These are the results obtained by the system despite the heavy drawdown of March. Just before we saw how strong the energy markets are, so we can take a look at a system on gasoline future. This gave us 2 very nice trades this week. As you can see, we had 2 profit targets and we still are in a profitable long position. I must admit that it is one of the best systems of the past year after a sideways period during which it had been disabled by the Titan software. Let's go now to my personal server because I want to show you a system that I've been using for years. I turned it off today because of the rollover of the crude oil future. Actually, it would have opened a long position right now, and it is a very effective system. It doesn't trade a lot, but it has a high success rate. This system too, like everyone working on the energy sector and on stock indices, has performed very well in the past 3 months. And finally, I want to show you a system that works on the 500 most liquid stocks of the Nasdaq, probably one of the best systems I have ever made. The most interesting aspect of this system is that it is able to limit the drawdown phases of the stock market. This backtest starts from 2015, and as we know, we have had several market crashes. But despite this, its equity line is very regular, and recently it has made several profitable trades that have led it to an equity top.
Hello everyone and welcome from Andrea Unger. In this video I want to show you a little operational idea, and in this case we will see together an idea for trading on the BP future, that is the British Pound future listed on CME exchange. So you can replicate as well the idea on the forex pair GBP USD, so the British Pound against the US dollar. So in this case here we can see the cumulated average movement into the trading week for the GBP USD or the BP future. And on the Y scale here you can see the results that have been already been multiplied by the big point value, so that the average delta in this case is expressed as a cash amount. So you can have an idea of the average monetary movement of this kind of bias, let's say like that. So here you can see some interesting factor. And for example, here on both on the blue equity and on the red equity, and in this case the blue equity is referred to the data from 10 years ago to 5 years ago, and in the meanwhile the red curve considers the data from 5 years ago until the present, so until now. And in this case here we can see that on the average, of course, there is a rising movement from Monday, from the mid of Tuesday here, because the day of the week is 2 on the X scale here, until Thursday here. So on the average there is this rising movement into the trading week. And in my opinion, this data can be used for building some strategies as well as some trading systems. And I already have a trading system that is based on this idea, and in the recent years it has performed quite well. So you may try to develop something that goes long on Tuesday. I would say Tuesday from 8 or 10 a.m. in this case, because this is in the first part of the Tuesday's day, until Thursday. So also in this case on Thursday before midday, I would say, but you should try to code this script and see which bar is the best one inside those trading days. But there is another interesting thing. If you see from Thursday until the end of the trading week, there is a descending movement on the average, and it's not clear in the previous period if it's better to take this point for going short or these other points, but you should verify what is the maximum drawdown of all these levels, trying to enter in different points. But in this case here from Thursday you can try to go short until the end of the trading week. And it's also interesting that this kind of movement continues on average in the new week, because in this case here we have the opening on the Sunday, of course is referred to Chicago time, and the first bars of the week are descending too, so you may try to go short from Thursday on the morning, something like 10 a.m. or midday. You should try to develop something on it. And then you can choose if to exit before the end of the trading week, so on these spikes, let's say like that, or to stay into the market with a short position until the new session, and to try to stay until Monday morning, or if you want to try also until Tuesday morning, because both on blue and red lines there is this descending movement on average. I want to notice that in this case here I would try to exit on Monday morning, just because here there is on average a strong bullish retracement, and so maybe going out on Tuesday may not be the best options, talking about the risks and the maximum drawdown of the strategy, because on average here from 10 to 5 years ago there was a significant retracement, and so you should evaluate if it's worth to stay one day more in the market and then to exit from the trade a day later, so on Tuesday instead of on Monday.
Well, let's take a look at the rollover of the main futures. This was the third week of June, so we had several rollovers. I refer to index future like DAX, S&P 500, NASDAQ or FTSE MIB. We have also the major currencies and the VIX future too. While for the next week we only have 3 rollovers on Bitcoin future, on crude oil and on natural gas future. Well guys, if you want to learn more about how to find your edges in the market and turn them into automated strategies, you will find the link in the description. It's our free online webinar during which you will see the steps to build your trading systems and become a profitable trader, how to have an edge over other traders and professionals in the sector, and how to build a diversified portfolio of automated trading strategies. And finally, if you liked this video, press like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. See you next week with another episode of the Trading Show.